You know, there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Exactly, you. It's Big Dad Ritch, the Band of Outlaws, THC, Texas Hippie Coalition. And you're listening to the BOD Mayhem Hour. Go ahead and grab that volume knob. You know you want to touch it.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father, and as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to welcome back Texas Hippie Coalition's vocalist, Big Dad Ritch, back on the podcast. I last interviewed him in 2013 to talk about their album, Peacemaker. Fast forward now to 2023, Texas Hippie Coalition will release their 7th studio album entitled The Name Lives On April 21st. And you want to check out their debut single off that album right now called Hounds. And they haven't lost their touch, folks. They're still bringing it to the forefront to this day. So, Big Dad Ritch, how you doing, man? And welcome back to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me back, and I'm doing real good, brother, real good.
How excited are you to have the upcoming 7th album, The Name Lives On, set to release on April 21st? Man, how excited are you guys for this?
Always feels good to still be alive and kicking, man. So, feel great about it.
Did you think the band would have 7 albums at this point in the Texas Hippie Coalition music library, or should there have been more albums right now, or no?
I think there should probably be 1 or 2 more. I really do. I think that the COVID stuff kind of lost us a year or 2 there. And then we recorded this album in April of last year and thought that it would be out last year in September or October. The label was so happy with the album and what they thought they could do with it as far as giving it a push. Yeah. So they made it all the way until this year so they could give it that monster push that they felt like it deserved. So, yeah, I definitely feel like we could have 1 or 2 more out for sure.
But how difficult is it to sit there and be like chomping at the bit and go, we got to set on this until next year?
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful. One thing, there's one song that was written called Keep My Name Out of Your Mouth. Mm-hmm. And it was written like 2 or 3 years ago. And then I was like, man, because of the release now, it's going to put it after the Will Smith thing, and everybody's going to think that have anything to do with Will Smith or his wife, his beautiful wife. It was just actually that, the song Keep My Name Out of Your Mouth. It just needed to be written when it was wrote. So, yeah. But yeah, it's a crazy world, man. We're upside down half the time.
But you know what, man? At least things are getting back to normal.
I have to agree with you on that.
Speaking of that, though, any shows that you guys have done that you've seen more turnout, say prior to the pandemic, has there been more of a big turnout now?
Oh yeah, we've definitely grown. I mean, we were selling out shows and near sell out 600 seat places like the Machine Shop in Flint, Michigan, and such. But since then, we've sold out the Machine Shop the last 2 times we've gone there, and around 600 seat, easy to sell out. We're even starting to get booked in 1,000 seat rooms. We're up in Kansas Crossing, the casino up there, coming up here in April. I'm pretty sure it's sold out. I know it sold out last time, and I look for it to sell out again. So pushing 1,000 plus people into a room, and you're the headliner, it makes you feel good. We still get offered to play these great rallies. We're up in Sturgis for 4 days this year, playing a venue called Kickstands. And we just did Arizona Bike Week, which people don't know this about us, but during the pandemic, we toured.
Mhm.
We played probably more shows than anybody did that year. I mean, I would venture to go up against any touring band that, you know, we did Arizona Bike Week that year. Then people down there, they wanted to have that rally no matter what, and they did during the pandemic. Still a lot of people there. I was amazed how many people were there. And then to return 2 years later, this past March, we were so well received. So, you know, we're going to work. We're going to put miles on tires, and we're going to do shows, and we ain't going to let no pandemic stop us. That's for sure.
That's exactly right, my friend. And I'll tell you this right now. The first time I saw THC was on the Danzig 25th anniversary tour in Louisville, Kentucky at the Expo 5. And I'm so proud of what you did for this person. It still sticks with me to this day. There was a blind guy that came in. He was coming up front, and you stopped and you said, hey, help this guy out. Let him come on up. Help him out. Let him do his thing. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And I still remember that to this day, what you did for him. So kudos, man.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. You know, we got to be real people, you know. I think that's why Texas Hippie Coalition is so well received by all ages, all classes. I mean, I don't even know, like, when I look out into my audience, I mean, I see different colors, different class, different creeds. I mean, it's just, it's amazing how across the board our audience is. And from some of the youngest, some of our crowd is getting so young, these 14 to 20 young ones, you know, it's just packing the audience. It's blowing me away because I'm used to our audience being a little bit older than that. So it feels good, man. And I'm just happy to be out there doing it. And I think the fact that it is real, we don't use any backing tracks. We don't use tracks at all. It's all live. If I'm singing good, it's a good night. If I'm not singing good, I'm sorry. It might be my sixth night in a row. And, you know, I got what we call the tour code. You know, I'm going to bell her as loud as I can to make sure I get it out as good as I can. I promise you.
What's been the most heated discussion the band has had about a song being worked on for an album, or maybe just an album name in the studio? I know there's going to be some heated discussions that you just like, man, we got to do this.
You know, man, the one thing that happens is that, you know, they call me the shootist because I shoot stuff down. You know, everybody comes in with these songs and they're so proud of them. You know, it's their baby. They wrote it. You know, they come in, they want me to love it. And, you know, I do love a lot of them, but a few songs I shoot down. And it's the songs that I shoot down that probably get the most discussion. And on this last album, I think we recorded, like, I know for pre-pro, we probably done 16 songs. So that would mean like 6 of the pre-pro songs didn't make it. And then I think we did 3 or 4 more that we went all the way through with, and then they got left off the album. So it's the songs that got left off the album that had the most discussion, you know, why is this not making the album? And some of the songs just didn't make the album because there was other songs on there that were similar.
Yeah.
So it kept them from it. But some of them were just, you know, the other songs were just, I mean, they were perceived to be better at the time. In the future, we may look back and go, no, you know, why didn't we release that one, you know? But hey, maybe one day we'll put all the unreleased ones together and throw them out there.
That was going to be my next question. You know, will they eventually see the light of day sometime, possibly, like on maybe a B-side or something other?
Yeah. I mean, I you know, I don't know about a B-side, but definitely maybe, you know, we just put together, you know, the shot down album, all the songs that were shot down, you know.
How important was it to stay true to the Texas Hippie Coalition sound, or that red dirt metal? See, I haven't forgot about that last time, that red dirt metal sound, man.
Very good. That's a good memory, man, 10 years later. Yeah, man, it's always important, you know, but I think that once you hear, you know, once you get so many notes into a Texas Hippie Coalition strong, it's kind of like AC/DC or ZZ Top, you know who it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, you know, but we also, you know, not that we want to think outside of the box, but we want to expand the box because we definitely want to be able to reach a larger audience. You know, we don't want to just, you know, it's kind of hard to genre specify this band. You know, we got, you know, when you go in some places, we're in rock and roll, you go in other places, we're in heavy metal. And I've even been in some mom and pop stores before to where THC is over there by Travis Tritt in the country section. I'm sure somebody just said, "Oh, it's a cowboy in a cowboy hat. You put him over here in the country." So, and I get a lot of my influences from Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, great songwriters like Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings. So it's understandable.
I was working with Justin Reich, who directed the video for the single Hellhounds. Man, how was working with him on this?
It's always great. I always come in with everything planned out in my head on how I want it to be and what I want it to look like. And Justin's always very receptive with where my crazy mind is going. And he did a great job on Moonshine and Dirty Finger to help really convey what I wanted to come out in those videos. I mean, I had Moonshine, I probably almost had it almost cue carded out almost perfectly. And with Dirty Finger, just to make sure that we captured the party that is a THC show. And then with this one here, I knew it was going to be a little different, using the green screen, stuff like that. So I really had to have a lot of faith in whoever my director was going to be because of my vision. So that's why I went ahead and told the label that I wanted to use Justin again, because I had a lot of faith in what he could do and how he can see my vision, and he can even help bring my vision to life, which is a tremendous thing, I believe. And whenever I seen the video and the lava's flying up in front of me and all this stuff is going on, I was blown away. I just thought, man, that's even, it's, he's like, he took my canvas and painted a better picture than I had perceived in my head, so yeah. He did a great job. I think that I'll be working with Justin most of the rest of my life. I'm sure we get along that good. It's that easy. For this shoot, he actually came in. He was a one-man band. We all as a band work together with him. You see a lot of those shots. It's not group shots. It's one band member. So while one band member may be performing, another one may be holding a light or, or helping Jason. So we all worked. Justin, we all worked together to make sure that video, although it was just done in the studio, easiest video I ever shot, by the way. I'll probably be using green screen again in the future because it was so easy. But it's always a pleasure to work with Justin, and especially to see the final results. Just so close to my vision, or even better than my vision. It makes you feel good inside.
So let's talk about this a little bit. What led that track, Hellhounds, to be the first song released off the album? Was it something to do with the record label, or was it what was it about that said that's got to go out first?
I don't choose the singles. I never have. Even when I was with Carved Records, Tim Porter would usually play a part in that. And I'm sure as my management now with Carved Management, I'm sure Tim, along with the label, helped to choose what songs were going to be the singles. I know that they've picked 3 singles, and there's a possible 4th and 5th, depending on how they do, which to hear a label talk like that is just, it makes you feel good.
Oh, yeah.
There's bands like Avatar and, putting out 5 videos for an album and stuff. That's something you dream of, to be able to put out multi videos per album, So Hellhounds, I believe, because of knowing the other songs that I won't name, just to keep it the suspense there for your listeners, I think it's because the other 2 songs of what they are, they're going to have a better release date in the future. They're going to hit the airwaves in a different way. What Hellhounds is a good, if you're coming out the gate, with all barrels blazing, you definitely want to have a song that's strong, still shows, it's still passionate and has heat. And I think the song is, it's like a good old hot sauce, it's still kicking after you're done licking.
And you're so right, man. You hit the nail on the head. We're in so different times now than compared to like the 70s and 80s and 90s. You're very lucky that you get 2 videos that come off an album. One at the most. One's guaranteed, but 2, I don't know.
Yeah. And I felt like, with what we have on this album, you know, in comparison to other albums in the past. You know, Pride of Texas, my first album, I absolutely loved it. One of my all-time favorites. Roland seemed to be a monster to roll out with, and then Peacemaker seems like every album, you know, our fan base doubles. And I always go back to the old Rush story. I think it was Neil Peart was talking about how every album they put out, they gain 1 million fans. That's the upside. The downside is they lose 1 million. So, you know, my hopes is we can just keep gaining fans. And I've already spoken on this quite a bit, as I feel like Texas Hippie Coalition is one of the most discovered bands on the planet. I'm always hearing people say, how did I not know about this band? Where did this band come from? Have I been under a rock? You know, why didn't I know about these guys? So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we just keep getting pushed out there and people can just keep discovering us and we can see our fan base grow.
Very underrated. And I'll tell you this, once you get a little bit of taste at it, like you said, it's like that hot sauce. I mean, you got to keep licking back later.
You know how that hot sauce is, man. You got to keep eating it to keep it from burning so much.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, was there a track that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than what it was intended to for this album? Was there one that kept changing or no?
No, not really. Not really. I felt like you know, my guys, Nevada Romo, Romo, and Cord Pull, that's my core songwriting group. And they're all in the band, which is great. Used to, I had to always write with outside of the band a lot. But to be able to write inside of the band, with Nevada doing a lot of the engineering and Rado and Cord helping, I think we were able to put together quite a few songs that were, you know, just once the producer gets his hands on it, they grow, they blossom or bloom. But no, I didn't feel like there was much change. And then, you know, I wrote a few songs with Bob Marlette that made the album. The one that I'm very, very pleased with is I Teach Angels How to Fly. I really love that song. It's, you know, as far as where it's coming from emotionally and lyrically, just kind of letting everybody know, hey, you're not the only one that's dealing with mental chaos. You know, it's just, you know, we're all, you know, I think all musicians nearly, but I hear that 73% of artists there's something wrong with them mentally, and I have to agree with that. I feel like I'm definitely one of those ones that has little struggles, and that song is just letting everybody know, hey, you're not alone. I'm struggling with this as well. And like the first lyrics in it, you know, he's talking about riding into the storm, riding into the tornadoes, riding into the hurricane, and how nobody can stop him. And that's kind of the way it is sometimes. You know, it's going to happen. You know, it's going to happen no matter what. You can't stop somebody from, you know, riding into that storm. So it's just, I just hope that you make it through the storm as I hope I make it through the storm. You know, so yeah, I feel like that everything came out. You know, there was a lot in the past. There were some albums to where even like a whole album, I was like, oh, that didn't come out the way I wanted it to. Or there might have been a song on an album that I was just like, oh, that fell short of the mark, or something maybe overreached the boundaries I thought might be set for it. But on this album, I think there's a lot of nail on the head on this album for me.
What's it mean to you when you get those emails or fans come to you after the show and say, hey, I took one of your songs, even though it was something totally different that you wrote about, and they turn it into their inspiration, or it's their theme song, man. Anytime they're going to football games or, you know, just whatever to get them through the fucking day. What's that mean to you?
Man, I have a guy that won state champion up in Michigan, actually. I think the town's called Pawpaw. And their football team won state championship, I believe, and they were entering to one of our songs every game. And, I forget which song it was. But, you know, it just how he used that as an inspiration, got his whole team involved. And he said, man, every time we played that song, we never lost. So we just kept playing it. And that's awesome, you know. But I also had people come up to me and talk to me about songs like Angel Fall, and express to me about some other songs in the past that they were like, hey, this is how I found sobriety through your music, or this is how I fixed myself. And man, that's amazing, you know, that you can have that kind of effect on somebody. So, you lyrical content's very important to me. It's so important to me that this is crazy. This is going to sound crazy. And there's a lot of, just for any songwriters out there that are listening to your show today, some songs I write 2 sets of lyrics to. Like, I listen to the music and I try to figure out what kind of energy is in that music. And then I try to convey it as best I can through lyrics and whatever my concept for that song is. And then I will sit down and I will come back at it again from a different angle and write it again. So a lot of times I may have 2 sets of lyrics to a song, not all the time, because sometimes they're just perfect, but sometimes I'll do that and then I'll try to figure out what's best. I had done that with Bob Marlette on one song. I said, Bob, I got this song, but it's so gun laden. It's so THC, redneck, gunslinging stuff that, it's like right in there. I said, but I got this other version, and it is kind of more like a Rob Zombie telling a haunted, scary story. And that song is Sundown Devil. Oh. And he was like, man, I love both these lyrics are so good that I want me and you to keep the gun slinging version for this song, and then let's me and you write another song for Sundown Devil. And I was like, all right, man, all right. So it's just that's how crazy my songwriting is. I can get busted off into lyrics. I can't tell you how many songs I've heard on the radio that are #1 hits that I've written new lyrics for in my head.
I've been doing this lately. I've been using your little catchphrase of going pissed off and mad about it. That's what
I'm sure that's a good common one since 2020 for sure.
Look, I know that you just talked about a couple of songs on this new album that's kind of close to you, but are there any that could be a sleeper? Maybe not on this album. Are there any songs that are a sleeper for you on any album whatsoever that should have been a video and should have went out but didn't?
From the past, Damn You to Hell.
Okay.
Damn You to Hell should have been a video. Should have been pushed. It's just such a great song, but there was so many great songs on that album. Peacemaker, it would be hard to get anything to move up. On this album, knowing what the three singles, 3 videos are going to be up front, the one not being named is a song called Believe. And that song is so arena friendly that, I could see it being played as an NFL promotional thing because it's just so hyped up, high energy. There's going to be guys in the gym trying to kill themselves listening to this song, man, I'm telling you. And that's one thing that a lot of people across the nation tell me is I work out to your stuff, And I think that one thing about it is our music, it's not downtrodden, it's not depressing, it's uplifting, it's empowering. And I think that's why a lot of people turn to us, is to hear that something that helps them, helps for some people that may be able just listening to it just to get up to go to work, to be able to put in a good 8-hour day. But, for some people, it could be driving them to overachieve, kind of like the football team out of Paw Paw, Michigan. So I think that song Believe is just something that, you could be on March Madness. It could be on for the NFL. It's just such a great song. And you may have heard it. I'm not sure if you have the album yet, but I know that once the fans hear it, that's my sleeper on this album.
I love seeing you happy, man. I love seeing that smile and how you're talking about this album. It's like, I want it now.
I hear you, man. I do feel good about it, but I'm one of those crazy people that every album I'll say this is probably the best album we've ever put out. Every musician does that. So I don't want to keep using the same cliche. This is probably the best album we put out, but I will tell you that this was just a place to where it seems like I had the most wisdom, and I was able to get what I wanted out of the musicians. The musicians brought great songs to the table. I was able to get more out of them, get more from it. And then my lyrical content and my style of singing, just trying to not always be delivering that same vocal mannerisms. On this album, I do a little bit of stuff that may be a little bit more Ozzy-esque than my standard singing style. So, you know, I really want everybody to know that, hey, we're willing to try just about anything as long as we don't escape our reality and come from where we come from. We want everybody to be able to feel the power and the you know, that groove that is Texas Hippie Coalition.
Was the track listing placement important for this album or no?
Yeah, I usually do the track listing, and there's song 9 and song 10. I really wanted them to go where they were. You know, The Name Lives On is the title track, and it needed to be the last song because of the level that it's at as far as music goes. It was written by my bass player Romo. It's the one track he brought to he also wrote Scream, but he wrote this title track here, The Name Lives On, and I just knew that it needed to be the last song because it's kind of like a big old gigantic exclamation point. You know, I mean, it's so it's such a powerful ending. And then Hellhounds, I felt like the way that Hellhounds starts, the way it comes in, I come riding in on chrome and steel. I mean, that's a great way to start off an album. And then everything else, I just kind of wanted it to have, not really, I don't like things to have like an even flow. You know what I mean? I want there to be a big bottom drop or a big climb up, but I don't want it to be, you know, unsettling to the listener, so that everything kind of goes together as you're listening. And I think as far as, you know, a 45 to 60 minute album from beginning to end, you could definitely listen to this one front to back easy.
So what's the growth musically you've seen from yourselves working on this album that impresses you the most, if anything? What's that growth that you've seen, say, compared to a previous album with this nucleus you have now?
Wisdom. I've got great musicians, first of all. These are some wonderful musicians, uber talented. Being able to work with Bob and Chris Marlette again, you know, this is our third album, but we've worked with them over the last 5 albums, I believe. And so just that common place that I have with those guys, and then these musicians that I'm with now. Cord Pool's been with me for a decade. Nevada Romo's been with me for about 7 years. Romo about 5 years. And our new drummer, I mean, he's only been with us for about 3 years, but
Yeah.
this is his first album with us. And I think that it's probably the best drum work we've had on any album. And I hate to say that because our first album was Scott Lytle, but he had like a Southern rock drunken drummer sound. You know what I mean? Weird slaps and super cool. You know, if you're going to do those songs, you want to replicate that. But you know, where we're at, you know, with how the music's being driven, Joey Mandigo on drums is just absolutely perfect for this album and perfect for where we're at. But overall, I would say in the growth of every album, we may step up a couple of steps. With Peacemaker, it was like a 4-step jump. You know, with High in the Saddle, it was like a 4-step jump. But I feel like this one, mostly because of me, because of my growth and my wisdom, to where I feel like we've jumped a good flight of stairs, you know, a good 8, 12 steps with this album. And I think that has a lot to do with just me growing up, maturing, and becoming a wiser frontman, wiser vocalist, lyricist. I mean, I just think that it has a lot to do with my growth. I used to always tell everybody back in the day when we first started, we're arena ready. We're arena ready. Mm. And then about 2014, when I'm on Mayhem tour, and I'm around, you know, I mean, my gosh, I'm hanging with Ice-T. I'm hanging with Korn and Mushroom Head and all those great guys, and I'm realizing now we're arena ready. You know, we weren't before when I said it, but at that time, that made us arena ready, and it put us there. So now I always felt like, you know, the stage that someone as big as, Kid Rock or even great bands on the level of like Clutch and Seven Dust. We're ready to step up to those stages now. We're ready to go. And in the past, I may have been cocky and said that we were, but in hindsight, I was probably the one time I've been wrong in my life. So with this, with this album, the growth on it, I'm definitely telling you the maturity level on my part and the rest of the men that I'm working with is, it's like graduating from college instead of high school.
I tell you, man, Joey is a beast, and I've known Joey for a year or so. And having him in this band, I think if it's perfect, he is a beast on the drums. And everybody go check out Locust Grove too.
Yeah. I tell him all the time, you're in one good band. He knows what it is too, so I don't have to tell him. No, I love Locust Grove. I love Zang and all them boys, and Rado Romo and Nevada Romo. They got a little side project called Anti-Mortem. They're both great bands, and everything. I'm so appreciative to have this kind of talent surrounding me. And I also know that this band eats up massive amounts of their time, their side projects. I mean, if they get to do 8 to 12 shows a year, they're lucky. If they get to put out an album every year, 2 years, they're very lucky. Texas Hippie Coalition's really eaten up a lot of their time, but I think it's important for them to see their careers grow, and I know this band is really helping them reach some mountain peaks they've been trying to reach for years, and I think that's going to give them longevity, and it's going to make these other bands even bigger because they're going to be able to draw some attention to them for damn sure.
Look, I know you guys have played a ton of shows, but what's been your most memorable show that THC has been a part of that you still can't believe to this day that you guys were a part of?
Man, there's been a couple of them probably. When we played Boss Pop, I got to see the Doors perform with the Colts lead singer.
Oh,
amazing. And Dee Snider came down and like he knew who we were and he talked to us like like he appreciated us, and he's such not a rock star. But I guess probably if I'm going to say anything because of how I got to meet, opening up for Five Finger Death Punch and Hell Yeah was a big show. I mean, it was monster. We were so well received, Vinnie Paul was on that show. It was a great, fantastic show. But opening for Judas Priest, I'm in a locker room and I'm warming up my vocals because we're fixing to take the stage, and in walks Rob Halford. And Rob Halford is just like giving hugs, telling everybody how much he loves Texas Hippie Coalition. I had already heard stories that whenever Judas Priest was touring with Thin Lizzy and Zakk Wylde was doing Thin Lizzy, that everybody said, man, all they're pumping is this Texas Hippie Coalition band. You got to check them out. You got to check them out. And that actually got back to Derek Schulman, who has discovered Pantera, Metallica, I believe. He discovered, I can't even remember how many. I think he discovered like even Bon Jovi, maybe, I can't remember. But he discovered so many bands. He's done so many of those VH1 behind the scenes shows. Derek Schulman, he hit us up. He found us. He helped us get with our label. I mean, it was just crazy that Rob loved the band so much. And then here's a little side note. He gave me a bottle of Irish whiskey, which I still have to this day. I still have it. And I have cracked it open. I have had a couple of shots. But it was like, you're going to keep that, break that seal? You ain't going to ever break that seal? I was like, oh, it's already broke. Yeah, I already took a couple shots at it. But then later on that night, there's a panic and they're searching for something. And I asked them, I was just like, hey, man, what are you guys looking for? Maybe I can help. And they said, we're looking for a bottle of Irish whiskey. Somebody stole it. And I said, I stole it. And they're like, what? And I showed them the bottle. And I said, yeah. I didn't really steal it. Rob gave it to me. So then they run and they ask Rob, and Rob tells them, yeah, and then they come back. And I said, hey, man, if this belongs to the guitar player, which that's what they were telling me, I was like, I'd be happy to give this back to the guitar player. That's fine. And they're like, no, we're going to go get him another bottle down the road. But, you know, they thought it was stolen. They were freaking out. I guess it's pretty expensive. I'm not sure. I take it that it's like a $100 and something bottle of whiskey. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. It's an Irish whiskey. And man, I tell you what, that show, to hear Rob come and hang with us, and then to hear him talk about how we were in Texas, and to have him talk about how we were the pride of Texas, that who Texas Hippie Coalition was, and to hear him speak that from the stage to that audience, man, it was beautiful, beautiful.
That's huge. That's like metal royalty right there, you know?
Oh man, I mean, if you're not moved by that, you're immovable.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Folks, Texas Hippie Coalition will release their 7th studio album entitled The Name Lives On April 21st. I suggest you guys and gals go out and check this out. Pick up all their old stuff. Give this band a fair shot. I guarantee you will dig something by them. So, Big Dad Ritch, how can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy this new album, everything under the name of Texas Hippie Coalition. How can I do that, good sir?
Man, right now, if you went over onto MNRK's website, you could pre-order the album right now. They have vinyl available. They have CDs available. You can pre-order, I believe, and your delivery date would be the day before release, which would be 4/20. So you could order from them. You also, if you want to get in touch with the band, just Google Texas Hippie Coalition or THC Band of Outlaws. It's going to come up with a quickness. It'll pop up top. I think if you put in Texas H, it pops right up. So even though there's the Texas health community, I don't know how we beat them to the top. But, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Joey Mandigo, since he got in the band, he even made a TikTok. I told him not to, but he did it anyway. He don't mind. And I want you to know that if you find us, discover us, do whatever you can, please follow us. Get over on our YouTube channel, check it out. You can check out Hounds' new single video on there. And, I'm not real good at pushing social media. I'm not even good at doing social media. I'm one of the worst at it. So, yeah.
I will have all these links.
Listen, I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I mean, I don't know, so Google us.
I will have all these links tied to Texas Hippie Coalition in this podcast. So that way nobody can say, I don't know where to go get it. It's down there where you can go look at it.
You're a man, you know what I mean? You are a man. I wouldn't know how to add a link to save my life, man.
Hey, man, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Hey, I'd love to, man. Love to. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Exactly, you. It's Big Dad Ritch, the Band of Outlaws, THC, Texas Hippie Coalition. And you're listening to the BOD Mayhem Hour. Go ahead and grab that volume knob. You know you want to touch it.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please get out, check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link that you want to go subscribe to if you like what I do. And you're crazy if you don't think I do a good job, man. Just go check it out. Go subscribe. Also, please check out Texas Hippie Coalition. Pick up their new album. The Name Lives On April 21st. You want to do that, give these guys a fair shot. And Big Dad Ritch, man, I always wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. And thank you for doing this interview with me, man.
Hey, man, thank you for your interest. Thank you for helping promote us, helping us introducing us to your masses out there. Thank you so very much, man. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you kindly.
Not a problem. It's a revolving door. We help each other out, my friend.
Hell yeah, baby.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.